Welcome to Attican Plays Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. All right, hi, this is Attican, and welcome to part 6 of our playthrough of Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. And we left off in part 5. Let's see. Oh, we had been doing some optimization, and we talked about this new set of oil rigs we have, bringing oil into the refinery, and how we were beginning to get well away from importing oil and supplying the vast majority of the oil ourselves, which is just driving our trade surplus right through the roof, which is beautiful. So that refinery is now a money-making machine for us. And I wanted to show you what I've done in the meantime. I did a little bit of play waiting on your feedback, because I asked you guys, what do you want me to do next? Now, Lintan Julu, and I'm sure I've messed that name up badly, but anyway, Lintang suggested a farm. So he thought we should get into food. And we didn't say farm, he said food. We should get into food. And 2 people liked his comment, so there's 3 votes for that. I voted for steel, and Machik, my old buddy Machik, and yes, Machik, I know I'm mispronouncing your name, but remember, that's your hillbilly name, Machik. Machik and I voted for steel. So we're going to do the food. Even in communism, in this case, or in socialism, in this case, majority rules. And we're going to do food first, but we're going to keep everybody happy. Don't worry, we'll get to that steel, because I really want to do the steel, and nothing wrong with the food at all. And what we got to do with the food now is a couple things. I'll get to that in a minute. Let me show you what I've done off camera. So off camera, I looked at this coal and said, good grief, that's full. So I set up another aggregate store here coming off of that one, and then 2 more coming off of that. And the reason I did that is because I'm looking ahead. First of all, I thought, if we're going to have so much coal, why don't we export it? Right? I mean, come on. You know, it's there. Look at that. There's 950 tons of coal sitting in this particular storage. It's just sitting there. We've got it full, and we've got 72 since the last train ran. So that's the other thing. So I set up these stores to allow us to store more of the coal, and also to give us the flexibility by having both of them to move in this way. And I'm seeing, I'm looking ahead to steel. I'm seeing the coal going this way to the left of our screen later on. So we're producing all this coal. So I thought, in the meantime, until something better comes along, we'll just export it. So we've got a nice big train here hauling up, capable of hauling 660 tons of coal. So it's going to go in here and load, and then it's going to run all the way over here to Kazina and export coal for us, which is not a big deal. It's not going to make us a ton of money. But look right back through here. Do you see all this relatively flat, open land? Well, keep in mind what we're going to do next, and keep that land in mind. So the other thing I did with all of this is I tried, and this was hard work, but I made sure we had road connections, at least a mud road, to as many of these as I could, and to our loader, which is a surprisingly expensive thing. And, well, I guess it shouldn't be surprising, but it's an expensive thing. And all of these have road connections. Even up here, the transfer engines have road connections, so that our fire department can take care of anything that crops up. Now, some things do not have road connections. We've got some electrical out here that doesn't have a road connection. That's okay. If it burns down, it'll burn down, and we'll rebuild it. Life will go right on. But might as well have the road connections where we can make them. And I was almost shocked that I was able to build this one. This one surprised me how easy it was. I just thought it was going to be next to impossible, but it wasn't. It was actually quite easy. It cost a little bit, but quite easy. So a couple of things. One is on my favorite little town, Mansk. The one goof in the design of it, I would say, there should be a road down here somewhere that comes out like this road here should come on out this way, or this one should, because I really kind of missed that when I was trying to do all these roads. But at the end of the day, it's fine. It's fine. And then I think I might have mentioned before, I did put a redundant grocery here because it turns out the way this was all lined up, a couple of these flats couldn't get all the way to the grocer, which is just right there, but just the way they have to wind their way through, they had troubles. So anyway, that kind of and then Matrix also said, well, let's fix that oil. So I've done that, and I'd already done that before I got any responses. Remember, I found these two spots here in the lake that I had missed before that were good oil when I was showing you the kind of the night vision way of looking for resources. So I put in 2 oil rigs out here and a tank, and hooked it into our main pump that's going into our loading station for the fuel. And I want to take this opportunity. I wanted to do it before, but I couldn't find the guy's post. I do go out on the Steam discussion groups, and some of you have talked about how there's no documentation for this game. Well, first of all, of course, I want to be the documentation to some extent, but there's a Steam user called CDog, C-D-O-G, and CDog has some really nice screenshots of some of the things he's done. And his layout for this area, for example, looks a lot like this. But the idea I did get from him is the idea of making those islands. Now, would I have thought of that? I don't know. I'd like to think I'm that smart, but maybe I'm not. I might not have come up with that, so thank you, CDog, wherever you are. All right, so let's see. Oh, and while I'm at it, while I'm in that frame of mind, I might also note that there's a user called Unicorn Princess, and Unicorn Princess, I'm assuming Unicorn Princess has created a resource flow chart, which has pictures of all the various raw materials and the plants and their outputs. And it's actually quite useful. I have a printed copy of it actually that I use when I'm wondering about stuff. Now, after you get some hours in on this, you'll just kind of know the resource flow by heart. But that diagram is very useful, and it was very useful for me when I was first starting. All right, so get back to this. The railroad setup, I think I mentioned this last time. I'm kind of going with the Mashinki, my Mashinki style, which is a big loop. Everything's a one-way. All track is one way, and we loop around. And the only exception is when we get over to Calzina or any of the ports, or to some of the stations that you can't go around on the other end. You've got to leave a runway here of two-way track. And what I'm doing for the semaphores, and again, I'm going to be doing a quick guide on laying track and setting semaphores and using your trains and setting routes and all that stuff. But I'm using, in order to make it a one-way, we drive on the right because that's where they drive in Russia with trains. I looked it up. Plus, it's where I'm used to driving. So you just put a signal like this, and let me just show you signals real fast. Shoot, we'll throw in a bonus here. Railways, semaphores. So you place one, you click on the track. You'll get this, the double semaphore. These are used for two-way track, but you don't really. But really, my advice for now is don't use them at all. If I click again, see how it turns into a one-way, and I click again, it's a one-way the other way. Well, this one-way right there, where it's on the left-hand side of the track, if you're thinking about the track going from the bottom of our screen up, it's on the left-hand side. That means that this is the way you're going, and you're clear to go this way. Now, if we wanted to give it a mate, we would go like this. We would click, and see how it's got its back to us. So trains coming from the top coming down will see the green, and that's a go for them. To get rid of those semaphores, you hit the cancel semaphore. You just click on it, and it's gone. So it's it's a simple system. You do have to go through, and if you want interim ones like here and here and here, you got to go put every one of them. There's no shortcut yet to do the whole track. But this is the simplest design I've found that seems to work with the way the game handles the stations, is just have a long run up and have everything loop back around and be, the kind of what I call the Machinke style one-way loops. And that's works well. You just have to be extremely careful when you're setting these semaphores that you don't do something like, whoops, that's the remove. You don't do something like that and go, oops, because if it's like that, the train is going to get confused. And man, you talk about frustrating when these trains get confused, you get confused. All right, so be very careful placing your semaphores, but basically I would recommend this little Machinke loop. It works great. All right, and this is what we're running on our big long line over from the oil. This is what we're running from our short oil line. This is what we're running, really, well, that's all we have right now. All right, so let's get started with food. And I mentioned that nice big flat area, relatively flat area out here near Calzena. So food is a much more complex industry than you might think. And the reason I say that is that when you start growing crops, the crops in and of themselves are pretty worthless, except, well, you could export them, but you will not get much for it. But the crops are used for the food industry. The crops are used for distillery to make alcohol. The crops are used as part of the requirements for a tailor to make cloth. So the tailor actually makes cloth out of crops and chemicals. And then, of course, those items are needed all over your republic. People are consuming food, they're consuming clothing and food and alcohol, and you'd like to distribute that everywhere. Well, when you get into that, now you've opened up a whole new can of worms. How am I going to distribute these goods all over the place? And we're not even there yet. We're not going to go there yet. But where we are going to go is the basic setup of a farm, and how you get it going and get an efficient growth of crops. And then we're probably going to stop right there for this episode and carry on later. But let's just get in. Let's just grow some crops. If I could just stop talking for a minute, maybe we would all be happier. So, all right, and let's go out. Let's give ourselves some space. Farming takes space, and we don't need to crowd anything. We'll get it in here, and then that opens up this other import-export area here, which is a nice big one because it's got 3 tracks and 3 road connections. So that's a nice big one. A lot more throughput through there. So let's just build our farming right here. For lack of a better place, we'll build it right here. All right, so we go into farms and crops. And the first thing, different ways to do this, but we'll start with our agro farm. Our agro farm is a pretty big, amazing building. It really is. So let me zoom down here so we can see it. So what it does is this big old boy, and let me see here. I'm going to turn off auto build. Oh, we're still close enough to our construction. Good deal. Do I want to put it there? No, I really don't. I want to put it about, I think I want to put it, no, where it was is fine. Okay, we'll just put it right there. Okay, so there's our farm. That farm can handle a lot of fields. So we're going to assign it a whole bunch of fields to work on. We're going to run this general road to build a mud road. And I didn't like all that terraforming while I was watching it. Doggone it. See if we can build it up a little bit. We just need to be able to get the road to come out of there. That's all we care about. Okay. That was harder than it needed to be. All right. So we're gonna go out here. Let's just run a square. We can do it lots of different ways. We're gonna run a road like this. Then we're gonna run a road right next to our agro farm. And you'll notice I'm not worried about getting it all pretty and square, but more or less. Whoa, that was... All right, I will take this one back. I would like it to go more like so. And if I cared a whole lot, I would put these wireframes on and line it up with the wireframes, but I don't care. And I like it to look a little bit untoward, let us say. So we're going to go into food, and we're going to plant as many big fields as we can. Well, as many, up to 7 or 8. Okay, there's one. And one beautiful thing about these fields, they can stand a little bit, you know, they don't have to be perfectly flat. There's 2. And one thing you do have to watch with these is to make sure that we have road connections for all of them. That one was automatic. Okay, those 2 gave them to us automatically. Good deal. All right, back to food. Big. Be nice if one would fit here, although this is pretty uneven land. I'm not feeling great about it. No. Okay, so if a big one won't fit, maybe a medium will. Yep, it will. Okay. I have not done any studies yet to say, okay, you need to optimize with X number of large fields, X number of big. It's better to do all big or all medium or all small. I don't know. We'll figure that out. If any of you know of any studies anybody has done on that, and I'm not talking about somebody's opinion. I want to know if somebody's actually done testing to figure out the facts. Let us know. But for now, what my plan is as many large fields as I can put, and I'll put the medium and small if I can't fit a large. That's pretty simple. So there, all those are hooked up. That's 5 fields. I want to have 3 times 5. I want to have actually 12 fields total. And we want to keep them relatively close to our farm, our agro farm. So let's see if we can get one back here like this. Nope. How about a medium? Yep, good deal. Another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's looking pretty good. This will make 8, but I really do want 12 if we can swing it. And I'll explain why the number and what we're after here in a moment. Let us see here. I need to fix this road. All right. Sorry. Lost my concentration there for a second. Let's put a large turn this way. Got to make sure we can get, so we've created that, all that simple little, it's amazing the pain you can create by doing just a little terraforming. Let's just turn it this way. And one more out here. Make sure our road is long enough. Okay, how many is that? Let's go ahead and build the farm. In fact, let's just go on auto build and see if we can't build all this. Okay, there. Did you see what happened there? It went out and found all those fields. So how many did it find? It found 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It found them all. So let's give it 2 more. That won't fit, but will a medium? Of course it will. Now, before I put this one down, though, I do want to have a silo for a little extra storage. And we're going to set this up right next to it like so. Like so. And then we're going to connect it with this factory connection. And what will happen... There we go. What will happen is this will start, as it starts bringing in crops, they will get fed into the silo. So the silo will be our main storage. And the other thing I want to check is I do want to have a warehouse out here. Did I leave some space? Yeah. That'll do. All right, we're going to put a warehouse out here and we want it to auto connect to that silo. Let's just see if this will work. It might be too far. These little connections between factories can't be very long. Oh, beautiful. All right, so there we go. So that little system right there will allow us to plant and harvest 12 fields of crops and store them in the farm and especially in the silo and then eventually into the warehouse. And you'll understand the warehouse later, but we're not worried about that just yet. Let's go ahead and build this out. Okay, now we need power out here, and interestingly enough, we need a gas station because we're going to run vehicles. Let me get those ugly wireframes out of the way. There we go. So there you can see our farm and power. We can get power at Kalzina. We can of course get power from Mansk. We're going to take it from Mansk, of course. And what we can do is go right out here. This looks good. We will put a switch. Now let's put one right there. High voltage. Take out that guy right there. Put in a high voltage switch running off that way. Turn off auto build. Even her up. Reconnect the main line and then run our power out to our farm. And let's run it out like so and then put a transformer right here. We'll step the power down from high voltage to medium. And then we can put in a substation here. That will power everything. Go back on auto build. We have to go back to high voltage to get those to build. So now, what's going on here? Did we finish it? Stop. Oh, I think we didn't build the switch back here. Yeah, we didn't do it. It's your fault. All right. So here we go. So now we've got power running out to our farm. We've got a powered farm. Now, to make all these 12 fields do something, what we're going to do in here is we're going to go into purchase vehicles. We've got 3 categories. We need to sow the field, we need to harvest the field, and we need to haul the crops into our farm. So we're going to get 4 tractors. We're going to get 4 harvesters, and we're going to get 4 large, and this is overkill, but we're going to get 4, let's see. Oh, there's only one page, sorry. Let's get, oh yeah, 10 tons of crop, yeah. All right, so there we go. There's our, we've got our fields. They're all assigned to us. And you can see here too, the auto search was turned on. That's why it went out and found them. And it's looking for everything within 1,000 meters. We could have bumped that up and actually included farms farther away. And again, I haven't done the studies about how big can you really grow these. You could probably make them pretty massive. And we could even put people out here to work. We don't need any people. We could have a big old farm with no people. Building is without power supply. One more thing to build. Build that. Okay, there we go. See, now, there we go. Everything's all right with this farm. And what that means is that what's going to happen now in farming is that our 4 tractors are going to go out and plant 4 of these fields. And once they finish planting a field, they're going to come back and plant another field. And as I said, the one thing we are missing is a gas station, because without that, our vehicles are going to eventually run out of fuel and our system is going to shut down on us. Yeah. All right, we'll give it a gas station. And this is, well, anyway. All right, so you can see what's happening. We've got 4 fields being planted, and then they will start growing. And as I said, these tractors will go work on 4 more fields. And after the growing cycle, and by the way, we could, I mean, if we wanted to speed this up, we could buy 12 tractors, go out and plant all 12 fields, and then we could dump some of the tractors. And I'm asking myself, why in the world wouldn't we do that? Well, no. We really want to, okay. Here's the other thing. We get in a rhythm here. There's a nice flow to this, because you get 4 fields planted and they start growing. And then you start planting 4 more. So they're going to lag behind a little bit. And in the final set of 4, a little behind that. So now you're going to get this nice rhythm of crops being planted and growing, fields being planted and growing and harvested, planting and growing and harvested. And so we're going to start getting, eventually, and it takes a while, a steady flow of crops into our silo, eventually here, and then we'll figure out, with this nice space right in here, what we want to do with all that. All right, let's wrap up this episode right here. We have started the food process. We have planted our crops, and we need to wait on those to grow. and we will come back in our next episode, check the status of our crops, and continue to work toward both food and alcohol. Don't worry, alcohol too. Maybe even meat. I'm not sure. We'll probably do meat. Why not? And maybe even fabric and clothing. We'll wait on that. But we will get food and wheat and meat, and we'll start doing some exporting. And we'll also think about, do we want to start feeding our own people, or do we want to continue to export? And I'm really on the fence on that one right now. We'll see. We'll see what we decide to do. I may put that out to a vote to you guys. But for now, we're looking pretty good. Right now, what I'm looking at is I want to bump up the coal. We don't have enough people going up there, and we'll make sure that we have enough people down here in Mansk that has the critical population it needs to make that coal mine really hum. So I'll work on that off camera, and when we come back, we'll continue, as I said, with the food and alcohol and meat. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player, and I hope you'll join us for our next Workers and Resources Soviet Republic video. Thank you.